the hormones have kind of shifted your brain to someone you probably don't even recognize half the time.
And don't even like, you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm,
that's been a real
mm-hmm,
like, don't even like how she do stuff. You know,
mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm.
I've really been coming into the understanding of like, um, what does hood call it? When you outside yourself, the body double, what's it called? I know you know what I'm talking about.
Uh,
The disassociative
uh-huh.
personality.
Yeah,
Man,
uh-huh.
that joint been rolling deep for me. Like I've been recognizing, like, you know, I have that problem, like in multiple different aspects. You know what I'm saying? And that's a part of that for me. You know, like I don't even like her. And when she shows up, she is not a reflection of, you know what I'm saying, who I am at my core, but yet she is showing up in these moments and she's saying stuff to my kids and she's, you know what I'm saying, doing things. And it's like, I don't even like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm,
Like, who is
mm-hmm,
she?
mm-hmm,
You know what
mm-hmm,
I'm
mm-hmm.
saying? Like that has been deep for me. Like that exploration has been crazy. Cause I used to always be like, you know, I'm like an onion. There's just all these layers. And it's like there is, but if you're not cognitive of those things, and it's like if you're not recognizing that that's happening, it can start to take a life of its own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. It really can. It really can. And it just spirals until you're like completely out of control at times.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's been
Mm-hmm.
blowing my mind because it's like, oh, okay, now I'm taking time to be like, okay, so who is this girl showing up right now? You know, who's the girl that don't want to work out? Well, who's the girl that don't want to steam? Like, where's this girl who was about the juice and now let all the juice go bad? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's really happening?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the girl that bought it ain't the girl that have it in the kitchen today. You know what I'm saying? And the lady that was screaming at her kids is not the lady that just wants to watch a movie with my babies today. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The lady that's just looking for a break is not the same lady that wants to make sure, you know, her kids are being well taken care of at every moment. Can't
Mm-hmm.
with anybody. So it's like that has been crazy exploration for me.
Mm-hmm. 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 And it definitely will, because like you see outside of yourself, and yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, this is not how it's going, how it needs to go.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
acknowledging the negative feelings that you began to have too, like trying to disconnect. You know, you like to be like, oh, I'm a single mother, but it doesn't phase me. I just do what I gotta do. The truth is there's resentment behind that in one way or another. And it comes out somehow. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
we don't
Mm-hmm.
always
Mm-hmm.
like to be real about that. You know what I'm saying? Like some days you don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Some days it's not because of lack of love, but it's like, ooh, please don't ask me another question. Oh, y'all hungry again? Like, how many times did I feed? I swear all I do is think about what y'all gonna eat next. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right. Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I mean, I think I might have forgot to eat. Did y'all save me a piece? Because I think I'm hungry.
Uh-huh, 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 uh-huh.
And just
And
wanting to change so much at once too. You know what I'm saying? Like wanting to
yep.
make them eat better and cook better and go outside. And I found that I just sometimes put way too much on my list of things I need to do now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Instead of gradually just and planning it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. And so let's tie it into the next question. Because it's like everyone probably at some point sees themselves as a great mom or likes to think that they're this great mom, but realistically, there's something that we all struggle with. Um, what is something that you would say that you struggle with and that you could use some growth in when it comes to being a mother?
Leading by example more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I want them to be so great. I want them to do so many things, and I get frustrated. I'm like, I told you this and this, but it's like only so much your mouth can do. You know, you're telling me something, but this lack is showing up in my life. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm upset with them because they're reflecting it, and that's been
Mm-hmm.
a hard pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm upset with you and I'm getting upset because why do I have to keep repeating myself? But it's like, girl, what is you showing? You know what I'm saying? Like, look at what you have going on. You know what I'm saying? And that has been difficult for me. You know, like I'm trying to deal with not getting upset with my children when they are just reflecting back something that I am not dealing with.
And then it reflects in them not dealing with whatever situation that comes their way.
Right. It's like, and I get angry, mad because you're showing it to me and I know it's there and I don't want you to be doing it. But now that it comes out as anger, I recognize that that girl comes out angry and mad that this is showing up in her children because she doesn't want it to. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't the kid's fault. So sometimes it's misdirected. And I could definitely improve upon, you know, those things. That's been what I've been really focusing on. Or we want to ask them, who raised you? And I'd be like, ooh, I think I did. But my mama was, but no, but see, I used to have my cousin, you know what I'm saying? I used to have my cousin around all the time. You must have got that. No, this come from her daddy's side. Because see, I don't know her daddy family that well. All the bad traits come from daddy. Look, like, who raised you? Like, who taught you this? I found myself asking them that and then being like, girl, you, some point, you know what I'm saying?
Our children are a reflection. And it's like, I can say in certain aspects that, there's definitely ways that I'm recognizing my behaviors in my kids, and I'm like, whoa. Like, we definitely need to refine and retune this. And it definitely is a challenging process, especially when you have a little, not teenage kids, but older children.
Oh, I got teenagers. Look, I got about to be 14. Okay. And all girls too. They really be popping off. Okay. All the way down to the smallest one. I'd be like, what do you say? Like, wait a minute. That is rude.
And they just look at you like, well, it ain't my fault.
Right. I find myself saying stuff like, you know, you might say, when I was a kid, we was staying out of go. I find myself saying stuff like that to my kids. When I was a kid, I would never ask my mama who she talking to. Why you in here asking me questions? Right? Why you ain't knock on the door before you came in? Like, all these boundaries that, you know, my family didn't have boundaries when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I came from a very tight-knit family. There was really no boundaries in any regard, emotionally, physically, you know, financially, there was no boundaries. So I didn't recognize the importance of teaching them until I recognized my children not having any. Like, I didn't even know this was a problem here, you know, until I was like, wait, you know, you're not knocking on doors, like, you in people's space, grabbing people's stuff. And it was like, oh, I have to teach them that. And we, like, you don't want to be like, oh, I don't know how to be a mom. You know, we want to think we're teaching our kids everything. But if you never had a situation in which boundaries were a thing, then you would not know it's a thing until you have to face it. And that's how I've been facing my children. Like, oh, y'all don't have any boundaries. So now I have to dial it back and teach boundaries that I never taught at a younger age when I should have to older girls, which creating a little bit more conflict.
It's like we expect them to know things already.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm supposed to teach you how to do that? Wait a minute. Oh, I thought somebody, I mean, how did I learn? Like, who taught me? And then it reminds me of, you know, why community is so important, because I think about how much I've learned. I learned different things from different people, cousins and aunties and, you know, grandmas, and being over this auntie's house. And when that starts to wane down in your family, then you are the sole person teaching things. You know what I'm saying? Like my
Yep.
mom maybe didn't have to be my sole teacher because I had family. I was at my cousin's house and my best friend's house and, you know, my godmother. It was like people taught you things.
Yep, and it's like for me, everyone was always a lot older. Everyone was my grandmother's age because I'll be with her sisters who lived here. So it's like they were all older, so they taught old school ways.
Right.
And
you wasn't having a twerk contest. See, I was having a twerk contest. Look.
Yeah, no, like none of that was going down. No, it was we sitting in the house on a Friday, even at 16, 17, 18, and we watching these movies, these Lifetime movies. We cleaning something. We just sitting here doing nothing, watching game shows. Golden Girls. So yeah.
My house was the party, you know. They was partying upstairs. The kids was in the basement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't realize that stuff till you have daughters, or not just daughters, but kids of your own. And you're like, okay, because that's not really. I mean, say everything ain't bad, but you know, there's some things that you want to instill in your children, and this is when I started to fix things within myself. I don't think I was willing to do as much of the work if I didn't have them, honestly.
I don't even think we would know to do any of the work at all.
A word.
If we didn't have kids. Like I don't, and it's like even still people who do have children might not even realize how much of a reflection their children are of them. So, and I think that's one thing that I know I personally need to really adhere to is realizing how much of a reflection they are and really prioritizing things in my life because they see all of that. They take in all of that. So,
they do. Even when you're off, like emotionally, like I'm just learning the trickle down. Like I'm, you know, being, you know, the sole single parent with my kids. Sometimes with life and things going on, I may have a rough day, you know, and they can feel it. It's like it trickles from the top down, you know. So now the big girls are fighting, but all of it is my energy. That was also a hard thing, you know what I'm saying? Like and why it's important for me to be meditating, you know what I'm saying, and to take that time to do that extra self work because sometimes I'm not equipped with the tools. Yes, babe. Okay. Sorry, give me just a minute.
Sorry, I had to open the door. But yeah, it is definitely, I don't know. It's like you're learning from it, and that's the thing. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Let me press the paper up for her. Give me 1 second. And I hope I think I took myself off mute.
You good.
Okay. Girl, you know, I forget if I took myself off mute and be sitting here talking.
I do it all the time. No, it made me feel sad. Oh, baby, I'm sorry that you feel sad. She can't kick you out your own house, honey. There's nothing to cry about.
All right. Kasha, give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. You know how
Cash, can you hear me?
Yep, I can.
Maria?
Yes.
Okay. I had Maria come in. She's one of the ladies in the group. Sorry.
Hello.
There is a. There is.
It's okay. Is this like a universal charger? Oh
No, it's not.
it's alright.
I mean, we're pretty fancy here.
I mean, it's pretty cool.
And if I take my phone off the charger, it's going to straight turn off on it. So yeah, and Catherine, she's on the phone. You're in South Carolina, right?
I am.
She has 4 girls. But yeah, no, I was just talking about why I started the group, and just to have support, mainly local, of mothers who are not quite burning out, but just feeling the overwhelming of being a mom, working, or whatever your life is looking like. Because I know a lot of us are starting to feel that. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So can you hear me?
Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her.
Okay.
I actually have another charger to get out of my car, so be helpful. So hello, thank you for welcoming me. My name is Maria Imani. My daughter and I moved up here officially in November, unofficially in January of 2022. It's a ways back. Like literally the new year. And my parents are up here. So just my daughter and I just recently went through divorce like last Thursday, which is good. But I've basically been raising her by myself since she was born. Her dad does want to be involved. He's in the Navy. We tried that. That didn't work out, which is good. God has puts us together for a reason and apart for a reason. So that's good. But just me and her. It is a struggle for me. I know you have 4, so it's a little different. But I think that not having a sibling is everyone has difficulties, right? So it's not having a sibling causes me to need to put more energy into things rather than go play with your cousin or your sister who you don't have.
Yeah.
So we're new to the area, and my parents are moving to Florida. So that's another big change happening. I just started a job in April of this year, and my daughter just started school in April, like a couple weeks after I started. I wanted to test that out. So great to have parents around. But yeah, I'm looking for a community here. My family's not here at all. So we attend church at Sacred Heart Catholic Church. I work in a hospital. My daughter's 3. I'm training her to be decisive and strong and wild, which is good. I want her to feel like a kid. And I would do anything to make that happen. So I also need friends. I like to go out. I like to sing. I like to dance. I love food, like good food, not bad food. I like to enjoy life, and I try to take my daughter everywhere possible and travel as much as we can too. But I am looking for mommy friends. I'm looking for my friends, and I'm looking for families that we can connect with because I like cooking. And we originally came from DC. Okay. We're from DC to Hawaii to here. Only went to Hawaii because my ex-husband now is in the Navy, and that was an experience, and I did it, and I'm glad that I did it so that I could say I did something reckless and for love and all that, right? So anyway, hoping that God shows me signs that I'm supposed to be here because it's tough. It's really tough. It's so easy for my daughter to make friends because she's a kid, and only thing that matters if you like to run or play or jump, and parents are different. So it's following that unicorn, as my coworker would say. So hello, I am in another mom's group, which is really awesome too. I was thinking about starting my own meetup because I wanted to kind of maybe what you're doing, but I'm not sure. But I was joining other meetups and doing things that other people wanted to do. And I was like, well, this is what wouldn't be something I would choose. And I would want to do something like it's kid friendly. Something could take, because I'm a single parent, she's always going to be with me.
And that's one thing, like, I want to have it all inclusive with kids. Like, maybe there's a lot of parks around here, and I haven't been in here, that are, for one, free, because I have a whole bunch of kids. So it's like, but no,
what ages are your children?
9, 7, well, he just turned 8, excuse me, 9, 8, 4, and 2.
And another one coming. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so like, just my kids just love everybody, and one of my close cousin, it's a girl. So it's like I have family here, but everyone has their own thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not like I can say, "Hey, can you guys watch the kids?" or "Hey, he's either here at the office and I have something I need to do." And it's like, don't have that. It's like, hey, you guys want to play? You guys just are tired of playing with each other.
Right.
Play with? It's like, okay, so yeah. And it's like, 2, I don't always have a plan. So if someone else is like, hey, I have this plan.
Yeah.
By all means, sister.
I have a lot of plans, so I don't have anyone to hang with.
It's like me, it's like I get pregnancy brain all the time, so it's like I have something to plan, and it's like,
yeah.
But yeah, so it's like you kind of, the next question was out.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't even looking at that. You made this so like prepared, and it's awesome.
Because I don't know, I'm learning.
No, this is so cool.
And it's like, as I'm learning, I just want to share it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, no one shared with me. So it's like,
that's the thing about motherhood that's so like, before we continue, I do want you to know I have a bachelorette planning meeting at 8, so I want to set that expectation. But my sister's getting married in November, awesome. And it is awesome. So anyways, I just wanted to share that, but I did want to come here because I need friends.
I appreciate you coming.
No, of course. But this is awesome, so please continue.
But something you struggle with, you kind of touched on that. Tasha was saying that she struggles with redirecting herself, and whether it's emotion, anger towards her kids or from work or whatever, and it being reflected in her children. So we're talking a lot about reflection and how a lot of our behavior is reflected in our children. And then we also were speaking on expecting them to know things and not realizing that those are things that we need to teach.
There are children, we have to teach them.
Teach them. Yeah. And so the next thing I'll speak about was, what is something you feel you excel at as a mother? So it's like, for me, it's really connecting with my children, especially on a spiritual level, and knowing what they need spiritually growing in life. And I would say I more so struggle with organizing the time to give all of us that respectful time to grow, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, me? Or do you want to?
Or Cassia, you can go, one of you guys.
Okay. I feel like I excel as a mother in taking accountability for my actions with my children, really saying to them that I was wrong for maybe yelling at you, or I apologize for the way that came out. I'm a little frustrated. It's not your fault. If I excel at anything, it is at being honest with them that I am just a person and I'm trying to figure it out. And I know that I make mistakes, but I am trying to do the right thing. So I think that's something I do excel at. When I'm wrong, I will apologize to them and acknowledge it and have a conversation about it. And let them know that it wasn't my intention and that I am working on it. And I allow for them to tell me if there's something that they don't like or something that really bothers them that I do. And I try to acknowledge or deal with that.
And it's like a lot of times, just as people, we can't acknowledge when we're wrong. So right. To acknowledge to someone that you produce, someone that, came from you, it's kind of like, oh yes.
Trippy.
Right.
For me, I do the same thing because she's such a sponge, right? So I try not to let's say she does something wrong. Like, oh my God, one time she took her pull-ups off and deliberately peed on the blankets. And I was like, I got so upset. I snatched her up because I'm like, it's on the carpet, it's everywhere. Like, and it's not my house, my parents' house. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm yanking her up. I'm like, don't you ever do that again. And she cries, but she's crying because she knows that she's disappointed me, not because of the action. Mm-hmm. So then, like, in that moment, I'm like realizing that that's what she's crying, because she was crying first, and then she's crying even more after I've expressed myself. Mm-hmm. So then I realized that, you know, this was like maybe a year ago, so, but my reaction means more to her than the action that she's done that's wrong. Mm-hmm. So we talk about it, kind of like exactly what you were saying. And I try to think of it how I would want someone reacting to me if I did something wrong. And I understand that they're young, but because they're young, they're sponges, right? So they're going to mimic any behavior that you do. So I try really hard to make sure that there are lessons learned, not in the heat of her upset. And that's another thing I allow her to do, is to be upset. Mm-hmm. Like tantrums, whatever it is. Because I think about myself, like if I stub my toe and I'm hurt, I'm crying about it, someone's telling, oh, it's okay, you're gonna be okay. That's not gonna make me feel my toe hurt. So I have to allow myself to be in pain. That's something I learned from my pastor. He said, if somebody rolled over your foot with a car, but he came back and said, oh, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. He said that he wouldn't be inclined to forgive in that moment. He has to go to the doctor, he has to get surgery, he has to start healing. And then when he starts healing and is healed, that's when he can address other things, because he's in pain. So I try to take that in my own life, and then also instill that in my child, because it's such a great lesson, because it allows yourself to react. It allows yourself to be in the emotion. It allows yourself to feel. When I grew up, my dad, he has 4 boys, 2 daughters, and the response to crying, whatever, is like, you know, suck it up kind of thing. And I don't want my daughter to be a crybaby, but also don't want her to not acknowledge her feelings like I have, because it's really kept me, you know, bottled up. And then when things get too much, I kind of explode. So things that I think I do well is, 1, allowing that, and then 2, helping her make her own decisions now. Because I can be very indecisive, and that's the thing that's held me back. And I want her to view herself as a proud individual, and being a Black woman, being a woman, being of color. It's like, and I don't know anyway, it doesn't matter. This is my case. You know, for my child, I want her to feel proud in her own skin and of her name. So that's really important to me. And just to be crazy, just to be wild, just to be fun, you know, and not be so serious, because I can be really, really serious and a little bit too, like, I guess, what's it called? Controlling, because I have to, right? I'm mom and dad, so it's kind of like I need to make sure things are in place and in order, and I'm protective. But that's the things I don't do well, is trying to remember to be fun and not be like staying on this routine.
Not be a parent 24/7.
Yeah. That's what's difficult for me.
So what are some tips that you guys would give to a new mom, or a mom who maybe a year in, who's just struggling to adjusting to motherhood, like something you wish someone would have told you? For me, it's prioritizing time for yourself, of how important it is, and not in a selfish kind of way, but in I need a moment to breathe. I need a moment to go to the bathroom by myself. I just need.
That exists. You can tell me.
When does that happen?
Sometimes.
That's never happened to me. I have to wake up early in the morning, and sometimes she still wakes up and comes to me, but I'm in the bathroom. I'm like, It's 6 o'clock in the morning. You sleep.
Yeah, if my husband isn't home and my 2-year-old is in the bathroom with me, or he's outside the door talking to me about his Batman and whatever his Batman.
2 years old.
Oh yeah, definitely the truck.
I have mine's 13.
Daughter
she walks in.
What was that?
13. So my 13-year-old still walks in. They don't even care. I'm like, excuse me, person.
I still walk in on my mom. So I realized.
And my mom is a girl. It's not a thing. It's just a thing in the house.
Yeah, like I realized that at this age that as a mom, there's really no boundaries between you and your children for the most part, especially up until they get to a certain age. And I don't have girls, but I just know that there's definitely no boundaries when you have girls.
Maybe.
Oh no, they're in my clothes that they can fit. They go in my closet. If they can fit it, it's gone. My perfume, makeup brushes, nail stuff comes up missing. I'm like,
oh God.
The hair stuff, everybody's trying a new style. And like, that's what I'm saying. I'm putting a lock on the bathroom.
Well, she already does that, so it is a thing. She does her own nails. That was my fault. I started doing her nails at like 1 because I'm like, what do I do with you? Like, what do I do? Nails?
Nothing's off limits, okay? I'm like, did you use my deodorant? Like, I bought you your own. Like, what's going on?
That's funny.
But no, what is something, because I know you got to get out of here. So what is something that you guys would give, a tip that you would give to a mom?
I would say it's not what you see in the movies, and it's not what people tell you. That was the thing that was most frustrating for me while being pregnant and then delivering and then being in motherhood, like when the baby comes home. It is literally life-changing, and it's a bitch. That's what I say. It's a bitch, and you have to let go of who you were and accept the new person. And invite that new person. Figure out who that person is. That being the child and that being your new self. So, and that's been a struggle for me. I had severe postpartum depression after my daughter, and then having that by myself. Well, my mom was there for 8 months, which was great. But then she left. But while it was happening, it was like I literally couldn't do anything. And it was such my only task was to keep her alive and stay awake to feed the kid. I was checking her every hour. Oh my God.
It seems so hard and just damn near impossible. In those moments, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, if you have no support. So
it was like I contemplated not going back to work, but I was like, how am I gonna get money? And I had to talk to my boss a few times, saying I can't do. She was a single mom too. And I was like, and she was new. She was a new boss. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I don't think I can do this. I'm not sleeping at night. She sleeps with me. It's only me. And I can't function at work. She's like, she was really encouraging. You can do this. You can do this. This will pass. Mm-hmm. And it's I don't think you understand. I'm losing my, you lose your mind. You lose your shit a bunch of times. And that was the other thing I would tell a new parent is you lose your shit and you have to give into the crazy. A lot of my friends became pregnant after me, and I told them you have to give into the crazy. Don't try to fight it because you have to let go. And the only way to fully embody this next stage is that you have to let yourself go completely to it and surrender yourself to the situation. Because you're not going to be able to control it. It's impossible. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it hurts, It freaking hurts. Your body hurts. Your body going through a lot of changes. Things are going to smell weird. And your baby smells awesome. And I would say record milestones. Mm-hmm. When my daughter flipped over, when she started crawling for the first, I wish I recorded those things. And I would be FaceTiming a lot of people because we're alone. And I was like, oh, did you guys look at this? It's so amazing. And I realized a lot of those moments I was FaceTiming and not recording. And I wish I recorded because they change so frequently. It's beautiful, man. It's freaking gorgeous. My daughter's gorgeous. And I'm so impressed with all these milestones that she's able to do. Even how small it is, eating bread for the first time. Like, isn't that good? Don't you like jam? A mango was her first fruit. She's in love with it, even now. And it was just like, it was so like natural and nasty. And it was awesome. And oatmeal, God, just accept the dirtiness too.
Yeah, most definitely.
That's what I'll say.
Look, by the fourth one, the dirtiness is just like, oh, it's all right. It won't hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But no, what I guess what my advice would be to try to operate from a place of love as much as possible, no matter the circumstance. Like if you can find a place of love to go back to whatever the thought is, whatever the feeling is, when you're dealing with your children for whatever reason, when they're struggling, instead of operating from a place of, I just need you to do this, or stress, try to find that love energy and speak and act from that as much as you can. You may not always be able to do it, but do it as much as you can.
I like that.
Definitely good advice. All right, so what are some ways that you ladies need to be supported in outside of motherhood?
A lot of ways. I would say for me, because I truly have been isolated for quite some time, I believe that we need accountability in a lot of different things in our lives, and other mothers assisting are holding you accountable to maybe goals that you've written down, or, I'm really excited about, getting into having mommies that want to invest and create wealth and create situations for our children that maybe we would normally wait for a partner to do, but finding ways to do that as a community for the children, So I would say in that way, financially grouping up and investing things and using the smarts and education we use for these other people's jobs to really figure out how to create a community for our children that allows for them to thrive and to have wealth. That's what I think I need: accountability to being healthy, to getting out in nature, to taking our kids out in nature. It's easy to not do these things when it's just you and nobody's looking at you, even though you want to. There's I don't know what it is. It's I don't want to say less of a motivation, but I lean more in on what Hood says about, not being able to have a spiritual experience unless you are creating relationships, where you are able to exchange that energy that is resonating with me so solidly, which is why I'm coming to Detroit. I'm saying it's time. I'm coming in a few months, but it's time for that to be exchanged in that way. And I've been drawn to Detroit and drawn to, Chauncey and Hood Mystic, and just that community. I feel like there's a community there and that I should take part in it. So that's the kind of support I think is needed, for me at least.
I think for me, I'm trying to understand outside of motherhood. So I view that as, myself.
If you have a business, if you need friends, if you need someone to.
Yeah, I think it's for me. I need to unwind. I need to, just go out and do things that I want to do, but in a safe way. Because I've gone out by myself a few times here, and it's sometimes a little scary. Sometimes it's really cool. Some guy will walk me into my car with his friend. I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is not okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was a little scary, but he was cool. He was interested, and that was nice. And I got home. That was fine. But I guess I don't think God put us on this world to be alone, and that doesn't mean necessarily having a relationship as far as a partner to stay with you, but more of a community. And I think for me, that's what I need. I kind of finding that somewhat in my neighbors. They've been really open, which is really nice. And they have some kids that they're older than Maya, but they actually like me, So I'm looking for real friendship. In DC, I was able to find it much more quicker than here. And I find that people here, and I'm not saying anything bad about anybody, but it's just been my experience of people are really nice, but they're not
closed.
You know? Yeah. And it's like the opening is very open, but then there's no follow through. And that's what I'm looking for, is like follow through friends. Like, oh, actually, yeah, I do want to hang out with you and I will be there. Not, I want to hang out with you. Okay, bye. Never see you again. Never hear from you. And be open. I'm trying to be more. My birthday was on Sunday, actually, so this is one of my.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you very much. One of my goals was, this is a new year for me, so I want to be more approachable, but also be available to do so. I can easily sit on my couch and just watch a movie with my kid and not do anything. I'm trying to just be. I need to be more focused on creating that community that I want. And that's why I'm thinking about doing a meetup where it's not just mommy focused, but they're just like, hey, do you want to have fun with a cool person? You know, I'm a mom, but doing mommy things, but also doing, you know, me things. Yeah. Having girlfriends. That's what it is. And doing those like self-care things, like going to the spa or going to get a drink somewhere or going to the beach and just relaxing, or like
just a day without kids.
Without the kids, yeah, sure, or with the kids, you know, because again, like me not being with her only because she's with her dad for this month is weird. I like cry a lot. It's really sad because I've never been away from her more than a week. This will be 3 weeks. So this is weird. And my birthday, so
and that's one thing, like as a mom, you have to accept that and be grateful for that. That's one thing. It's kind of along the lines. But what goes a little further is just being accepting of help, being accepting of our children's relationship with other people.
And that's hard.
And, and allowing them to, because they're going to be an adult, they're going to have their own experiences and adventures, and allowing them to have those as a child now. So
that's the scariest part for me, because I just can't trust anybody, and that's the part that I'm like just worried, because things happened to me as a kid, and I found out I was having a girl, was scared the shit out of me. I'm not gonna lie, and I just didn't want her to have those experiences, and I have to really think about that, because it wasn't like somebody we didn't know, it was somebody we did know. So my trust is like very skeptical. Like I need to see, action, stuff like that. So going to a new place is really hard too. But I know it's 2 minutes till 8, so I didn't want to be disrespectful.
No, you're completely fine. You're completely fine. There's someone else. Carissa, welcome, hon. If you would like to share in what ways outside of motherhood that you need support, and share a little bit just about yourself coming in, that would be awesome.
Peace, y'all. My name is Carissa. I guess I'm pretty much like everybody else when it comes to the type of support I need. I just need some friends who have children who can relate a little bit. I'm living in Texas currently. I have an 8-year-old daughter. She's my only child, plus my kitty cat. I really love to be outside in nature, explore different things about myself, learn new things. I'm always willing to learn and get new ideas from anybody. But just somebody or a group of people that can actually listen and can relate on this motherhood journey. I'm a mother by myself currently. So yeah, that's me.
Welcome, single mom.
Thank you.
So it sounds like we all kind of fall along the lines of the same thing, just friendship outside of friends with our children. So just kind of moving along here. I've been doing a lot of reading, a lot of studying, and in a lot of those studies, mothers produce more cortisol. Hold on one second. Oh, no, you're fine.
I want to give you my number.
And I was getting ready to do the same.
Ladies, it's so nice to meet you. I have to run to another virtual meeting. Is there a way for me to do it in here?
Yeah. There's my husband's at one table. You can probably go to one of they should be open now.
Oh yeah.
After 8. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna grab my charger. Is that okay to do?
Yeah. He probably may have to let you back in. I don't know where you parked at, but
just right across the lot.
Yeah, because that door doesn't have a stopper. So just let him know and he'll let you back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You should just do it right out.
Can I give you a hug?
Of course.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
No problem.
It's so nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you as well.
If it's an hour, we'll probably be done by the time you get done and we can.
Okay. I'm here. I'm free after this. It should be an hour for me.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm gonna leave this here with you. I'm gonna grab my charger.
You can actually just take that out and give it to him.
Okay.
Because he'll probably need that after this. But thank you so much.
What is your husband's name?
His name is Kyrie.
Kyrie.
Yep. Oh, you're welcome.
Well, I'm available after if you want to stop by the bar or something.
Okay. Well, I mean, I can't drink, but
you're no fun.
Yeah, I definitely can drink a mocktail. I've been listening to podcasts. I've been doing some research, and it's saying how mothers produce more cortisol than especially stay-at-home moms. And whether you're working from home, but if you're staying at home, you're producing more cortisol than you would if you were in the office, or a mother who is working outside of the home. So I started putting together these notes for myself, and then Hood was like, you should start a group or whatever, kind of like how Happy Hour was, but just more informative, and not so much drinking. If Happy Hour was fun. I may bring that back, mixed in with this. So just wanted to share these notes that I have, and we don't have to go through the whole thing because I know it's getting a little late. I know I said till 9, but kind of wanted to just maybe shorten it a little bit. Take a look at some of these, and I can definitely share this worksheet with you guys. Not worksheet, but this note sheet with you guys. But really, it's to help with kind of easing the mental load of being a mother, improving our mental health as a mother, because our children, and you guys have girls, so they see all of it. And that is pretty much how they may act as they get older when it comes to certain situations. And it's like, I have boys and they know the same thing. But some of these steps I have found really helpful in improving my mental health, and improving relationships with my husband, with my children. Everything's still a work in progress. But it's, still a step forward. And I figured this is something that, everyone could take away something, at least one thing from. So yeah, kind of just go over it a little bit. Because it's like in motherhood, you're hoping things will go one way, or we expect things to go one way, but they turn out completely different. So it's like, in being a mother, you have to deal with all these expected curves and turns and twists in life. And that really, weighs down on you. So just kind of going in order, just remembering to breathe throughout the day, taking deep breaths, taking focused breaths, or not focused breaths, intentional breathing, where you take a few minutes and you just breathe, deep breaths. And it's something that you can include the children in, especially if you're at home. Being consistent about how we prioritize our time. That's something that is definitely big for me, is prioritizing my time. I don't prioritize my time enough to where I have, time for myself. I have time to give to my husband. I have time, we always have time to give to the kids. But, I have time to finish the housework. I have time to finish an article for the business, or I have time to finish orders for the business. Really prioritizing that time. It's like, it became hard. And that's something I just would tell myself that it was hard. But it's actually not. It's really just writing down what I need to do for the day and getting it done. And if anyone has any other tips, please let me know, because I can take in all the tips. And something else that we were saying earlier is can't be in mommy mode 24/7. So that goes back to prioritizing your time and making sure you take time for yourself. Setting boundaries, learning to say no to our kids, learning to say no to other people when you've already delegated your time to certain tasks, and if you take on what they need, you won't be able to finish something. Or telling people that, hey, I can give you this amount of my time and that is it. And taking accountability is one thing. Oh no, you're fine. Oh, you didn't?
Yeah. It's okay.
Oh, you sure? Yeah, but you can sit right out there though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cassia, you were talking about taking accountability and kind of needing like an accountability partner. And that's one thing, is that helping ourselves is taking accountability for our time, for each day, for the tasks that we get done, for the tasks that we don't get done, and not letting it weigh us down, but knowing that, okay, I have tomorrow to do this task. And then asking for help, which is a big one for me. It's hard for me to ask for help. It's hard for me to accept help. And I got a feeling that a lot of us are like that it's just hard for us to receive or ask for help. But one phrase that I like to go by is that it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to live life in general. And it's like, at the same time, we're all looking for our soul tribe, or our tribe, our community. And I know that when we ask for help, those that are there to give help are part of our community, are part of our tribe. And delegating tasks. When you have older kids, dishes, clothes, vacuum the floor, all right, I'm taking this hour. In this hour, I need you guys to do this. And really sticking to it.
Mm-hmm. That was a hard one for me, I will say. Just growing up where you would feel like you don't want to require your kids to do adult tasks. Someone had painted in my mind that having children do certain things they shouldn't have to. So I had to get a relationship with the fact that they have to learn these tasks as adults. There's nothing wrong with me as a mother saying, hey, you need to learn how to cook, so let me teach you some things, and now you can cook dinner once or twice a week, because this is something that you can do. You're 13, you need to know how to cook, or, being able to do little things like fold the clothes. I did the laundry, you guys can fold it, put it away. That stuff came in so much handy when I stopped trying to do everything.
And you said what? Maybe just some feedback. But yeah, it definitely will. It's like I have my 9-year-old now. Like, all right, Azor, put the clothes from the washing machine in the dryer. All right, bring me your clothes from the dryer. All right, we're gonna fold. Let's put them away. And granted, I'm sitting up there, doing it next to him. But in a couple of months, he's gonna be able to do it by himself, for the most part.
Right, which you're gonna need that right now. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like him cooking simple foods. It's like at the office, and it was like, especially a couple months ago, I was extremely sick. Like, I was having a hard time getting out of bed. It's like, all right, son, I showed him how to turn the oven on, showed him how to I'm buying foods that are oven friendly, and showed him how to set the timer. Because those are things that I know that he can do. And it's like, we're not going to give our children tasks and things that we know that they're not capable of doing yet. Taking time for self. Some of these may be repetitive. I should probably do them a little bit better, but hey, you guys will understand. And this is one that this particular beat is one that I really, with some advice my mom gave me. was walk away for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And like, especially when I had John, my first, it was put him in his thing that goes back and forth, the swing, and make sure the other boys are set and go outside for a second, or go somewhere where I could at least keep an eye on them and breathe. So it's like walking away to take a breath, so you don't get angry, so you don't overreact, so you don't direct your rage at your children when it really isn't directed at them. Even if it kind of is, it's still not for them, if that makes sense. So definitely walking away. Being realistic. This is my thing. I want to get all this stuff done in one day, at one time.
That's me.
Like getting everything done in one day, expecting the whole house to be spick and span, every single room in 2 hours, and get dinner done in 20 loads of laundry. Yeah. But setting realistic expectations for the day, things that I can actually do, I can actually accomplish. And it's like when you start setting small goals, you end up accomplishing your big ones. This is a big one. Don't let the little things ruin your day. It's like we all know motherhood is stressful. We all know being an adult is stressful. Bills, car payments, whatever you got to pay, we all got them. And that right there is stressful enough. So it's like, why let something little, and it seems like a lot of times the little things is what trigger us the most. But why let something little ruin a good day, the positivity that you started off with? The tantrum that the kid is throwing, the mess that they made. It's like, at the end of the day, it's not really worth it. Because it messes with your mental. It messes with your mental health.
It definitely does. Can I say something real quick?
Oh, heck yeah. Go ahead.
When my daughter was younger, like, she'd be screaming and hollering. I just start screaming with her. We screaming together. We both releasing because we're not about to, no ma'am. And she'll stop because she's looking at me like, why are you screaming? Like, why are you screaming? So that helps. They don't know what to do.
Yep, I've definitely done that as well, and that do work. Cause they look at you, they stop like, what the hell is wrong with you?
They think you crazy. They think you crazy. Like, I'm just as crazy as you. Like,
Yep. That's funny. I found myself doing that in the beginning, not so much with Jesse, but with John. Just sit there and scream. Just sitting there screaming in each other's face, and then Azor and Seven would jump in, and we all be sitting there screaming.
That's how you feel sometimes.
Yeah, it really, and it's like we have to be okay to let that go, and it's like turning it into a game. Even with older kids, you can turn it into a game. Get a fuck it bucket, and every night, this is what we're doing. What are we putting in the fuck it bucket? What in the day did not go as planned or the way we wanted to, and we want to get rid of, and actually let it go. That's something that I've been really contemplating on, and not calling it so much a fuck it bucket with my kids, because then my kids are going to be like, yeah, we
might call it a fuck it bucket too.
Yes. But starting something like that, and throughout the day just going out yelling and screaming and acting all crazy because we can, and that's what kids do, and that's what they need to continue to keep them as kids.
I found that there was a suggestion. I don't know if it was taking like a parenting class, but he made a suggestion in a live, and he was like, when there's an intense moment or, something's going on with your child and you're mad, or, there's a situation to redirect the energy, like make a joke, or that has worked tremendously. I started to put that in place, especially even with the baby throwing a fit, say something funny to her. Say, you really look like a little monkey down there throwing a fit. And she's like, what? Like what kind of monkey? Now she's like, okay, I do not look like a monkey. Now we're on a whole different situation. Or, I'll start laughing in the middle of a serious situation. It's like, Mom, why are you laughing? Now everybody's laughing. Nobody knows why they're laughing. And it was just an intense situation. Like, remembering to be consistent with that is probably my biggest challenge, but that has worked wonders in a lot of situations with my kids.
Yeah, making it fun definitely can change the environment for sure. Even as adults, it changes the environment.
I definitely am learning to work on that, because it's like, I don't know how I became so serious, like, about everything. And it's like, even with my daughter, like, I'll be like, okay, Olive, make it make sense. And then I'll think about it and I'm like, how's she gonna make it make sense? She don't even know what you're talking about. It's like, I have all these expectations for her, like she should know all these things, but then she don't really know, and I be getting mad. And I'm like, okay, who you really mad at?
Yep. Misdirected anger, rage, and misdirected anger. It's something that we all have to see for ourselves that we're doing, number one. Don't little things ruin your day. Be patient with it. That kind of goes and ties into being patient with yourself and being patient with your children. Because at the end of the day, everyone has feelings, everyone has emotions, and learning how to direct them in a healthy manner and teaching how to direct in a healthy manner is very important, especially at a young age, because probably a lot of us, I know me, myself, and like particularly, I was not taught really how to where to direct my anger or my rage or my sadness. I was taught not to express it, not to really worry about it, like to where I'm bottling it up, and yeah.
And that becomes frustrating.
Yep, and that's not what I want for my children. So it's like, say what you gotta say, Sam, but there's a way to say it. That's what I always say.
Healthy expression. That's what I'm working with my kids with now. Like, you can be upset, you can be mad, but you can't, put hands on your sibling, or you can't, scream and holler, but you need to find a way to express how you feel, because I've been trying to teach them I'm not receptive to you throwing a tantrum, because I have a 4-year-old. Like, you are older. I need you to learn how to express how you feel so that I can hear you.
Yep. Because if we throwing tantrums and we never get redirected, hell, when we're 30 years old, we're still gonna be throwing a damn tantrum.
Wait, then I had to realize that sometimes I can throw a grown 30-year-old tantrum. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then realizing, like, oh, sometimes I throw tantrums. Like, okay, that goes back to being more of an example as opposed to telling them what to do, So it does make me more accountable too, realizing when I get in this space, I'm in here and I told y'all to do something, it's not done. Now I'm throwing a grown-up tantrum. But ain't no mama here to tell me about mine, So looking at me like, and you up in here throwing a tantrum now. Where your mama at? Like,
Yep. That's funny. Wow, that's funny. That's funny. We do sit there and we'll throw a tantrum, but because we don't have anyone to correct us, because we're quote unquote grown, then we just carry on and keep throwing tantrums, and
because we get a free pass because we the mama.
Yep.
Like no, ma'am.
Yep. And this ties into. Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, like, journaling has been really helping me with that, because I'll catch myself, like, when I get off of work, because I'm currently in the character position as a housekeeper. So after work, I'll, like, be frustrated, and I'll be like, oh, Olive, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? I'm like, hold on. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to go meditate and write, because clearly this ain't even you. I just got in here. And I know the room's going to be a mess because you were here by yourself. So what should I expect? So just taking that time to just sit down and be in the air and be outside has really been helpful. So I don't just like unleash everything that has been latched onto me from the day onto her. Sure.
And that ties into never stop learning. It's like, as we grow and evolve, the same goes for our children. It's like we notice growth and evolvement in our children before ourselves. But it's like now is the time, and we're the generation that has to break that rule or chain of don't pick up a book to be a parent, that there's no blueprint. There may not be a complete blueprint, but there are books that will help, that you can take with what resonates with you. There's magazines, there's articles. I guess magazine and articles are the same thing, but y'all get what I'm saying. But there's other avenues for us to learn and evolve mentally, physically, emotionally with our children. To make us better adults, because there's going to be time where they're going to be out of the house. Then it's like, then what? And it's like, I feel like a lot of times we don't think about that, especially when we're in the process of raising our children. But learning is very important as a parent. And I like this. Parents' knowledge is a commodity that needs to be cultivated consistently. It's like the knowledge of being a parent is not praised as much as it should be. Even though it's hard as shit.
Some days you just don't want to be a parent at all. You're like, why am I accountable right now? I don't want to be accountable.
Yep.
I don't want to.
And we live in a day and age where you can very easily throw away that accountability. You can get rid of your responsibilities, whether you're a father or a mother. It's like they have safe houses where you can drop your kids off now. And at this point, they're not just for babies.
Right.
And then one of the reasons why I started this group, don't isolate yourself and the kids.
A word.
A lot of us, especially since COVID and even before pre-COVID, we're isolating ourselves. We're not going places. We're not interacting with people. We're not being social. And it's very important being social for us. And that can be something as simple as just going to the park, museum, just getting out, walking the neighborhood. If you live in a neighborhood that you can walk in. But just getting out and you and your children meeting people, cultivating relationships. Very important.
Yeah, I've actually been dealing with social anxiety with my oldest daughter because COVID is when she kind of got older. So she spent a year or so remote schooling as she was transitioning to middle school, and pretty much through her middle school time, I pulled her up to go to middle school for 6th grade, and baby couldn't even get out the car. And I had no idea that she even had social anxiety. She was like, I was like, what are you doing? I gotta go to work, get out the car. I'm like in a rush. And I'm looking back and she was petrified. Like the look on her face, I was like, oh my God, what's happening? And had no understanding that. And I'm still dealing with that with her now. Now I try to get her to maybe go into the store for me. And realizing that we've been failing our kids in the sense that these kids can't even go in the store and make a simple transaction with a debit card.
Nope.
Like they don't even know how to use them. Like we are really truly have isolated our children in such a way that, my daughter's having a meltdown if she has to go to the pool or if she has to go into a store alone. And that was a trigger for me. So the isolation of yourself and your children, like that just really, it rings the bell for me because I'm still dealing with my kids now and my oldest for real with relationships with other people and being out in public or going out to any public situation without her having a meltdown.
It's getting real, and it's just going to get realer if we don't do anything about it. I
feel like my daughter. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I
feel like my daughter deals with that as well, not just because of COVID. think because she's the only child and she don't really have like family members and stuff around. So it's like we'll be at the park and it'll be like 20 kids playing. She's like, Mom, do you want to do this? I'm like, hey, I'll go with the 20 other kids. What you mean? Then I had to end up playing with all the kids in her because it's like she's so attached now and not used to being around other children. So I'm working on getting her out more and interacting with more children.
Yeah, it's definitely it's very important for kids. Very important for kids, and even important for us. It's like me. It's like until my husband comes home, I only have interaction with children. So it's like I need adult interaction. And so it's like getting out there when you're going to the park, you're meeting other parents, you're speaking to other people, other adults, and your children are able to act with other children. It's like for me, my children are able to interact with other children who are not their sibling, which is always cool to see. I was gonna say something else, but I totally forgot that click.
And I will say that I agree with that. It's probably easier to have multiple children than just one. I've always said that there's a special place in my heart for parents of one child because you do have to be that child's everything. That's how it segue into their social situation. You're, their comfort as well. You're also, the person that plays all their games with them and watches movies with them because they don't have anyone else. So I do believe that, I have 4, so I don't have that challenge, but I can see the challenge in that because I can send the oldest one to read to the smaller ones or, send them all to go watch a movie together. And that's something they can do and I can get a moment. But for a mother that has, just one child, I can see that being even more demanding.
I thought getting this cat would help with that, but she ain't doing it.
The cat just become your baby. Now you gotta get the cat.
Yeah, cats, that's the wrong thing to get.
The cat under the mama all the time. Because my cat stay up under me.
Literally.
Cats really don't like kids. That's
nope.
I've learned that throughout the years. I've always had a cat, and cats really don't mess with kids like that. I don't know what about kids, but most cats don't really mess with kids.
And we've had our cat since we were like feeding it milk out of the little droppers. So he deals with them because he's grown up with them, but he can't stand it. Like he hides. He leave when they come in the house. If they come in some outside playing, he going outside. I mean, they about to be loud. He's going out the door. You don't want to deal with that. So
yeah,
they get on his last nerve.
Yeah, it's more. I think for kids, more of a dog is their companion. And of course, depending on your living situation, can't have a dog. So it's like, cats can give 2 craps about kids. I know my cat be trying to jack the kids up when they walk by.
Ooh, that'd happen over here too. Catch their feet when they walk in.
Yep.
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 I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So what's some ways that you get your children to like face their fears?
So I'm just the rip the Band-Aid off type of mom.
Me too.
So I don't know. I have boys, so it's like, boy, you better stomp on that spider. You better take that spider out. Because that's kind of like the fears right now. It's nothing, too major. So it's like, and then I just kind of reassure them, like, what are you afraid of? Like, what exactly are you afraid of? And a lot of times I get the answer, well, I don't know. Then I reply, then you shouldn't be afraid of it if you don't have a reason to be afraid. And that normally kind of gives them some braveness and they do whatever it needs. But what I found is right now, my boys are pretty fearless. So yeah, like what would you say is one of her fears? Like what would you give it as an example?
My daughter, she be on all over the different types of levels. She's like super afraid of me dying and like her being alone and having to go to foster care or be without me. Like she's been saying that a lot. She's like, "Well, I just don't want you to die," you know.
Has
And it's just
someone
to be together. I'm like, "Well, I can't promise you that, honey."
has there been a situation where someone close to her has died, or she heard of someone dying, and like
no, but we recently had a situation where it was a fire at the hotel while I was at work, so I feel like that kind of shook her up a little bit.
Yeah, normally with things like that with kids, there's a situation that happens that triggers that emotion and that response to the fear of the parent dying. Because a lot of times that's not something that's on a kid's mind. Something happening to their parent. So yeah, it had to have been something that triggered that for her.
I would say I haven't dealt with that type of fear, but I do often talk to my daughters about, I say reassuring things I think would help. And so I'll always be here with you no matter what, even, teaching her, or maybe, whatever your belief is about passing on, or making her understand that, because she's connected to you, there's no way you could ever leave her no matter the circumstance. I do a lot of that with my kids. I've never had to have that particular fear, but I've like a scary child. Monroe, she's scared to go down the big slide, and she's scared to, jump into the pool. She has those type of fears. And in those type of senses, I just really try to be a comfort and a motivator for her. Like, you can do it, baby. You're strong. Use your Black girl magic. I use that a lot. I always tell her to use her Black girl magic whenever she feels afraid, because if she trusts in herself, then her magic will activate. So like that's like our thing. Like, use your Black girl magic. You can do it. You got it. You can do whatever you want. And I do a lot of encouraging her to face her fears. And she loves the way she feels when she does it. So I'm like, Mom, I faced my fear today. Like, she often says things like that to me. So those would be my two suggestions. I would say just encouraging and more simpler fears, that, she can do it, that she's powerful enough to do it, that she just needs to trust herself. And then for the fears of death, I would just say reassuring her that you will always be connected to her, because, she comes from you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like there's no right or wrong time to talk to kids about death. And I feel like they normally come to their own, not conclusion, but their own thoughts about it on their own. Like whether from something happening, someone in the family dying or something. Yeah. Death in kids is an interesting topic outside of sex.
Then they start asking questions. My 4-year-old, because it's a year anniversary of my mother's passing, and that's probably the closest person that was lost, because she was every day in the house with them, grandma. So my 4-year-old, it's been interesting to deal with her connection to understanding it. She still has a hard time with it. Sometimes she starts crying because she wants her grandma, and she'll ask me questions like, how did grandma get in that box? Because we cremated her. So she's coming into her inquisitive part where, Mom, how can I talk to grandma if she's not here anymore? Like, I really miss her. Mom, how'd she get in that box up there? Why did Grammy have to pass away? Well, what does that mean? Like, where is she now? Why I can't hug her? So these are the kind of questions I'm answering to my 4-year-old, and it has been quite a journey, because I've never seen a child deal with such a close loss, because she was a grandma's baby. And she's remarkably, processes parts of it. And then she comes back with questions later sometimes, like, okay, well, well, what about this? And then I have to talk to her about, how she can still feel connected, or, how her grandma is still present. So that has been a good experience.
Yep, talking to them and age appropriate, but not, sugarcoating it.
Right.
I feel like That's my issue. I don't know how to keep it age appropriate because like I'm all into like the spiritual side of things. So I'm like, I'll never be gone. You can contact me, just put me on your altar and all these things. And she's like, well, how do you do that? And then I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go down this long list of things and tell you how to get out and all this other shit. I'm like, maybe I'm doing too much. Let me calm down.
And no, but not really. There's no wrong age to teach spirituality. There's no wrong age. It's like, I mean, when you think about it, kids go to church and be in Sunday school, and on Easter Sunday be given their Easter Sunday presentation or their Christmas presentation.
Yeah.
So there's no wrong age. She just makes the choice in life to what she's going to do. Whether you sit there, show her, have her write it down, get her own little book or whatever. When she's ready to make her decision on how she's going to live her life, no matter what we show our children, no matter what we teach our children, that's the decisions that they're going to make. So yeah, if it's something she's definitely interested in, if it's something that soothes her soul, definitely teach her. Light her own candles, light her own sage, burn her own herbs, drink her own teas, and things like that.
That definitely works. I have the girls, they participate in their grandmother's altar, and that is a comfort for them. They participate in wanting to put things up there. They draw her pictures, they put it on the altar. And I just allow for them to express that in whatever way that they see fit and model it after, what I may be doing. Me lighting candles, me putting water out, me putting things on the altar and telling them, don't touch this, it's for grandma. They kind of saw it. And so now they participate. And I go in there and there's pictures or, hey, mama, put that candy up there for grandma. And I just let them do that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So y'all can see it. Just some affirmations that I found that I thought were really good for mom and kid. And it's something that that once you set up an altar, you can start working with theirs, creating your own affirmations, having her create her own affirmations. I think that works really good. Children creating their own affirmations for how they see their life going at this particular time. Yeah, so I'll leave that up there if y'all want to screenshot it, or I can even send it to you. Just let me know.
Yes, can you send it to me, please?
Sure can. Just remind me, because y'all know how my brain works.
Just send it to everybody on the meeting list. Look.
Yep. And this is another one here. Just small ways to have fun in life as a mother with your kids. And everything doesn't have to be so serious. Everything doesn't have to be so not necessarily by the book, but just take things lightly throughout the day. And I'll send this one to you guys as well. There's one, I'm looking through. There's one that me and the kids do. We like to take deep breaths together, especially when someone's angry. The kids are always making up secret handshakes. And there was one, the tickle wars. Oh, they even now to where they're doing it to each other, but they're dang near fighting. And just being silly. It's like that. I realize the more that I do that, the more that it eases the day. It brings more pleasure to the day.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's that trickle down that I've experienced, like what we take serious or how intense we feel, they feel that, and it trickles down to them. If we feel joyous, then they feel that. If I wake up in a good mood and I'm cleaning and I'm singing, my kids take that energy, and that's what they take with them for that day. And that's just something that I've been really trying to be more mindful of.
Mm-hmm. 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 And it's like, oh shoot. Oh no, I didn't do nothing. Okay, I just stopped. I'll just stop straight. But that's the thing. That's the kind of I find that's the key to motherhood is really just being mindful and taking accountability, whether wrong or right. You know, just all right. This is what happened. I was wrong. I was right, and I hope you learned the lesson that I was teaching here, or I learned this lesson. Let me pass it on to you. But yeah, that's what I'm learning motherhood is about. Parenting is about. Um, that's all that I wanted to share. Um,
Yeah, this is beautiful. This is beautiful.
well, thank you, It's something I feel like a lot of us need it. Oh, the other thing on the notes that I took that I printed out for like the in person, it was a lot of like free parks. So I encourage everyone. I know some of the libraries have, in some states, have passes that you can go. You get into free museums, like and things like that. But really looking into things that your city offers that are free. You'll be surprised at what's out there. Because I know I sure was. I'm like, oh shoot, we can do a lot. But yeah, so it's something I want to do once a month. Um, and I may, do like a happy hour once a month where, we're just shooting the shit like before. But yeah, every month I'm gonna come with some more information to share. And if anyone has something that they want to share, please feel free. I do not always have to be the main one speaking. If there's something that you want to talk about with people, please do. And also, if you guys have a business that you want to talk to us about, show us some products, please do. Um, if you guys need help with business, I want this to be an all around support, not just for motherhood support.
Right.
Please reach out. So like I said, once a month, I'm gonna start doing this the second Tuesday of the month. If 7 p.m. is too late, we can definitely change that. But yeah, and then at some point next year, I would like to have like a mom trip. It can be with the kids as a family or just us moms. But like for us all to get together and in face in person conjugate.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like fun.
I
have one last question.
Oh yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay, so how do y'all like get out of the motherhood rut? And what I mean by that is like sometimes I'll have like periods of time where I don't want to do anything with my child. I don't even want to look at my child. I don't even want to remember that I had a child. And I hate feeling like that. But it'd be real life. It'd be like, you know what? You can eat cereal.
Right. They ain't gonna die.
Yeah, that's when it's time. That's when you just kind of have her watch her little TV, give her her electronic or whatever, and put yourself in your room for an hour. Because you said she's 8, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that's the issue because I don't have my own separate space anymore because we're in a hotel room. So it's like no blocker.
Okay.
I've been there before.
Then you may need to go down to the pool or if there's a little outside space. And do that for 30 minutes and put a camera in the room so that you can keep an eye on her. You're still in the vicinity but you need to walk away for a second. Put her to bed early, wake up a little bit early. Because it's like with the circumstances, you gotta go for what your circumstances are. And it's like if you have someone who can watch her for an hour, pick that hour up. I tell people all the time, like care.com is a great website if you want to find a babysitter for an hour or two, because they do background checks. They're very thorough. Um, so yeah, or if you have someone you can trust to leave her with for an hour, so just so that you can get your you time. But a lot of times it's when they go to sleep and when
That's what I
they're
was gonna say. I have some experience of being in a hotel with the kids, and that in and of itself, I understand the stress even of that. Implementing a bedtime was my lifesaver in that situation. Like my bedtime was strict, and it was you needed to be down by 8 o'clock so that the rest of that time was mine for the evening. And I would say as a suggestion like that really saved me a lot. That's when I read and I studied and I, did the things that helped me be able to focus when I was in a hotel with just me and the kids. But yeah, I didn't budge on that bedtime. Maybe once in a while on a weekend, if I felt, inclined to have a movie night with them, I would be like, okay, well, I'll let you guys stay up a little later tonight. But bedtime was strict for me in that situation.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, sometimes we have to readjust our schedule and sacrifice our sleep just to get some less hours.
Yes.
Especially if you don't have any help. And a lot like even though my parents are here, I still can't, like I said earlier, I still can't call on them. We can't call on them to be like, hey, can you guys watch the kids for a little bit? Because they have their own life going on. Like we have to rely on each other and build a community.
I second that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think you both have my phone number. If not, I will send it to you guys because it's definitely somewhere, throughout the week, you need someone to talk to, it's just not limited to our meetings. Because that wouldn't be no support.
Right.
Like that wouldn't be no support.
I love that.
So y'all know sometimes I don't have my phone, but always Instagram is great. Yeah, the kids know we have my phone. It's very rare that I have mine in today's but yeah, it doesn't have to be limited to today. It can be once a week, once a day. Just hit me up on Instagram. That's the only way you may get a response right away. Yeah. And if there's anything that you guys want to go over, want to talk about, we can research, just let me know. And I will do that.
Yes, ma'am. I think
Thank
this
you
was
for this.
great.
I really appreciate it.
You said what?
No, I was saying thank you. I really appreciate you for doing this.
Oh, of course. It's needed for a lot of us. And it's like, it's all good to vent every once in a while, but venting doesn't really solve anything. Venting doesn't really give any solutions. And it's like, I know I'm at a place where just need solutions and not really so much to vent.
I second that. Definitely looking for things that you can implement to create a better situation.
Definitely.
Yep. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. I so appreciate it. This was definitely needed. Next month it's August. 8th, I believe. Don't quote me. I don't know. I'll share it with everyone when the time comes. But like I said, don't let this be the only time. If you guys need something, also taking donations. Would love to start providing a meal for a new mom or a mom who just had a baby or a mom who's struggling. Provide a meal on a Friday. We provide meals for her and her family on Friday. So we are taking donations to go towards that. Going to start that next Friday. So if you guys know someone who needs help, if you yourself needs assistance, and then eventually want to provide like care packages to people if you need it, like things that, of course, because we're not local, can send through Amazon. And for those that are local, can be dropped off or picked up. But diapers, wipes, just essentials that strapped for cash are hard to get outside of food. So yeah, so that is the goal moving forward. So if you guys know a mom who needs, definitely share the group with her. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll donate for sure. Where do we donate it?
There is a page on the meetup, and I have to start a Cash App for my nonprofit. I have a nonprofit, and that's kind of what started Happy Hour like 2 years ago. And what made me start back up is my nonprofit is supporting families and educating families who have mothers struggling with postpartum. Because postpartum is real. Postpartum is not talked about.
Ooh, it's not.
A lot of women deal with postpartum 5+ years after they had their child and don't even realize it. That's what the nonprofit is for. It's like even if you have money, there's times when you're struggling just to make a meal, just to order a meal. And I be that order while you can't do it. Everyone needs just a little support.
Absolutely.
Yes. Well, again, thank you, ladies, and please